If you ever find yourself out in the woods and all that you brought along was your trusty lighter, but it breaks or runs out of fuel, what are you gonna do? Should you panic? Well, you probably should have brought something else along, like a ferro rod or matches, but I know a lot of people who just take a lighter because they think that they're fail-proof. But the reality is that they can fail on you. But if they do fail, there is one technique. It's not the easiest technique, but there is a technique to get flame. So we'll start out with how a lighter actually works. When you depress this little red button here, it squirts gas up or releases gas from the inside chamber, which is in this case gone. There's nothing left. How that gets ignited is as this wheel spins, it throws a spark into that gas and it ignites and you have an open flame. So we still have the mechanism to throw that spark, and the way that's working is there's a small ferro rod inside there. So as that scrapes around, same as we scrape a ferro rod, it throws a spark and you're good to go. So we need to actually get some of that material removed and into a pile. Once we have a pile of that material, then we could ignite it with the sparking mechanisms that's still working on our lighter. And if we think a little bit further outside the box, all of the plastic that the lighter is made of is flammable. We just need to learn how to process it. And we process that the same way as we process a larger stick, make shavings. Now, I will warn you again that this is a tedious process. It's not the best process. It's somewhat more of a novelty, but I think it is a good thing if you're a survivalist or an outdoors person and you rely on a lighter to understand this technique just in case something like this would ever happen. So for this, I'm gonna use some paper so everybody can see what the process looks like and what the material looks like. Now, it's best if you have some paper because it is going to allow you to capture all of the small little filings that we get off of that ferro rod from the inside. If you don't have that, it's going to be a little bit tougher, so you're just going to have to play with it and try your absolute best. So the first thing that I like to do is scrape the plastic off of the lighter. So I just use the back spine of my knife, scrape it the same as if I would be scraping fat wood or any other type of dry material. Next, we want to get fine shavings off of the ferro rod inside of the lighter. So to do this, what we want to do is we want to slowly turn the wheel. Either direction will work. This is going to remove shavings. Now, you don't want to spin the wheel too fast or it's going to ignite those shavings. So every so often after making shavings, tap your lighter onto whatever surface you're gathering your shavings on and allow those shavings that are caught up inside the head of the lighter to fall out. Now, it's super important during this step that you collect enough shavings because these shavings need to burst into flame. So if you only have a little bit and they just flame up and go out really quick, it's not going to be enough flame to ignite those shavings of plastic that we just made. Now, once the filings from the ferro rod are collected, place them where you want to start your fire and then pile your plastic shavings on top of those. Then take your lighter and spark that spark into that pile of filings that we created. That pile of filings should, in return from that spark, ignite, large flame, and then that large flame is going to catch that plastic on fire. Now, once ignited, the flame's not going to be huge, at least in my case it wasn't. So I'm going to show you here with a piece of paper how once I push the piece of paper over top, that invisible flame lights the paper up very easily. So there is a flame there, it's just burning very clear and it's hard to see. And that, my friends, is how you start a fire with a broken lighter. So this can be an empty lighter or a broken lighter. You know, take your pick, whatever you think. But I think it's a good thing to try out, mess around with. You can even impress your friends at a party with this. Bust the lighter apart and say, hey, I'm gonna still make fire with this. I bet you a couple beers, and I guarantee you're gonna win. So this was Dan Wollek of Coalcracker Bushcraft. Hope you enjoyed this little quick tip. As always, check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com. And until next video, stay in the woods.